Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NA Rival Series B stream presented by Rival Esports. My name is Hunted, and with me today, we've got a couple of guys from across the pond, Eternal J and Jam. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. Not in lockdown just yet in my place. I think you're still in lockdown here for your part, Jam. So, I feel like you've kind of got the worst end of the stick at the moment. But, it doesn't matter if you're in lockdown, if you're a gamer. At the end of the day, there's plenty of Rocket League to be played. So I'm just getting excited for tonight.
Yeah, it's the beauty of esports, and just like on the North American RLCS stream, when Shogun and Johnny Boy were the top hitters for the stream, now we decided to do just the same thing here on the B stream. Two European casters coming on over the pond and just marking the territory just a little bit, looking around, doing some window shopping. Yeah, this looks nice. This looks nice. We might stay here.
Well, you guys got a pretty good schedule upcoming. Our first matchup, Warriors International and Stromboli. We get to see that first place team in Stromboli take the pitch again. They haven't played a series yet this week, so we're going to see how they do in that one. And then, of course, after that, we've got Absolute Leverage and RBG for you two boys to do as well. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about Warriors International versus Stromboli. Again, Stromboli come into this one top seed in the NA Rival Series. And of course, Warriors International not too hot. They're 2-4 sitting at 9th place. But this could be an opportunity, Jay, for them to kind of try to turn their season around in these final weeks.
Well, I mean, you say that, and they're currently up against the team that are currently first place in league, so I'm not really sure how likely that will actually end up happening. I mean, we were talking a little bit before the broadcast about this Stromboli side, because, obviously, my own individual sort of, knowledge of the American scene, especially down here at the Rival Series level, is not exactly on point, so you'll have to forgive me if a couple of my facts are a little bit wrong, but I looked at this roster and I was like, who are these guys? I was part of the community in that respect, in terms that, I didn't know who they were. I didn't expect to see them up at the top end of the league play, and for me, taking a look at the Warriors side, it's a bit disappointing to see them in 9th place. I would have put them at a solid sort of middle of the table area, but that's not the case for them this season. So yeah, maybe it could be a chance to turn it around if you take a look at convention, but you take a look at those standings and things probably are a little bit more different than that.
Really not expecting that much from Warriors International in this one, despite the names on that roster. Just specifically, we recently looked at Jay Wisman's performance in terms of our anti-record. They are still, his team, Incognito, still holding the record of the worst scoreline in our Rival Series or RLCS by losing 12-0 to Fibin in Season 4 of the Rival Series. That record came out because just for yesterday in the Rival Series on the EU side, we had a complete demolition, that 11-0. So it's great to see Jay Wisman still here, but he has a little bit of a couple of black spots in his past.
Well, you talk about Warriors International coming up against a very strong Stromboli team. However, they did suffer their first loss last week against Mirage, and they haven't played since then. It's kind of been, I'm sure, in their heads a little bit. And, you look at the standings as you see on your screen right now with Stromboli sitting at 5-1. Jam, I'll start with you. What, how does that mental state change coming into this, knowing that you dropped your last game? You haven't been able to play for over a week now. Does it change anything for Stromboli, or do they come into this like they always do?
I think they should just come into this with the same attitude that they've been going throughout the whole season. They started the season with a 3-0, a 3-0, a 3-1 if I'm not mistaken, then another 3-0. They have been doing just fine. One loss doesn't change much. It was a 5-game series, and I feel like if they just continue on doing their same thing, they are a lowly squad. Really, I'm looking at Stromboli as like a triforce, a triangle of things. They complete each other in a way. You see them, and you know that JPOW will be setting up the shots. Heck will be putting them on target, and you can rely on Alraz in defense to make it on log. There's no need to change anything, really. One loss doesn't change much. Obviously, lessons to be learned. They allowed that game to run away from them, and Mirage, by the end, were scoring heaps of goals. But I feel like Stromboli, despite their low, I'm just going off the what Jay said, that pretty much nobody knows who they are. They have not been on the radars of many of the people, despite them coming into this as the first seed and potentially getting the top 3. But the fact is, hey, I think they can do their stuff. So I think they can just continue being their own thing. But hey, surprises happen. We had a couple of surprises already this week, so some of the fans from Warriors might be crossing their fingers thinking, this is our chance. Let's pile up on the pressure.
Well, we've got the match just about...
oh,
I'm sorry, Jay. The players are just
fine.
about ready.
Don't worry.
And I definitely want to get this over to you, but real quickly, I do want to know, chat, what you guys think about this one. Use !war if you want to vote for the Warriors, and !Boli, B-O-L-I, if you are voting for Stromboli. But game number one, almost ready to go. Let me hand it over to Jay and Jam. Take us away, our first match of the day.
Thank you very much, Hunted. Yes, this one will certainly be an interesting one. I'll be curious to see whether or not Warriors International can live up to the namesake that they have in that roster. It's game one quickly getting started, and the Warriors will be over on the blue side of the pitch here. Stromboli out towards orange, and certainly the favourites, I guess you could say, by scoreline alone here. J-Pow and Thunder contesting for control. They're going to try and get this offensive set up earlier from Warriors International. Stromboli leaving it to Buddy. In the end, the defensive just tries to hold its own here on that orange side of the field. Good blocks off there from Auraz as Thunder looked for the first shot opportunity. Will not go in the back of the net in the end. The defensive holding strong in the early game here for that orange side.
And despite that attack from Warriors International, I would like to point out just how patient Stromboli are. Look at that, sitting in defense, not rushing. And then when the moment comes, that counterattack almost got Warriors International just a little bit amiss. Stromboli still trying to set up something. By that start, Warriors International are not afraid of the big status of their opponents, but Stromboli are not disregarding their opponent as being one of the worst in the league right now, at the very least in the standings. Could be makings of a really good series.
Warriors here with a good strike down from J-Wiz.
Oh,
Over to
Wizman.
Thunder, and J-Wiz is still lurking inside that box, trying to go for a zero-angle point-blank shot. It won't quite happen for him, though. Out to the midfield, it's J-Wiz out to the center line. Thunder looking for a shot that goes high. Buddy sets up, the bump's in, the demo's out, but
Thunder
still be able to get the clears out. The offensive continuing to press forward here for the Warriors. Backboard play from J-Wiz. Heck will try and challenge for it. Thunder rotates back out, getting his 100 boost and falling back away, but J-Power is continuing the pressure here. The Stromboli side trying to get some pressure set up of their own. They have been suppressed in their own half. 4 shots coming in from the Warriors so far, only 1 for Stromboli, and J-Wizbot still swinging out of this box position, desperate to try and get the first goal in.
Loving the ideas from Warriors right now. A Demo and Buddy, though, will cut their chances in the offense, and any passing lanes will be dead. But they have players already in defense trying to send the ball back in. And for now, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Warriors. They are setting up players in good spots, constantly having that one straggler somewhere up front that is ready to take a shot from awkward positions for Stromboli to take. And right now, this opening half of the game, you know what? If you would just switch the team names around, I would believe you. Yeah, it's Stromboli currently on the attack, but no, it is Warriors International currently dictating the pace, and Stromboli is forced to answer.
Well, halfway through game one, and neither team have been able to get the start that they wanted. No goals on the board just yet. This ball played out towards this corner. Buddy tried to take control past J-Pow. Heck tees this one up, and Thunder takes it out. Once again, back into Auraz. J-Wiz going to set this up for Thunder. Perfect pass received. He's too far back. Miss off the backboard, though. That could have been dangerous. Unfortunately, they have backup there to send it away. Buddy going to try and send it back on target, but challenges again from the Stromboli side will deny the on-target shots from Warriors. It's Thunder here now with control. Backboard again. Buddy fall back one more time in the midfield line. J-Pow with a pinch, trying to beat out this offensive play. And the Warriors, same sort of struggles from the Stromboli side. They have got the majority of pressure, but the shot accuracy has not been there, and the defensive from Stromboli has been confident enough to get those on-accurate shots away from the net. Set up again for a dunk down chance for Rek. Double commit there on the defense, just pushes it out of the line and just saves the first goal.
It felt like they needed that double commit, just squeezing that ball against the crossbar and pushing it out. Warriors International only get their second shot against them, but that shot almost could have spelled trouble. Really, both teams still looking for something to fall in line. One perfect pass Well, Warriors International are just trying to set up, find that good shot. Stromboli are looking for a counterattack, and right now with this demo, Davis will be sent back to the defense. He isn't even needed. Body still goes back on 0 boost. Make sure that Warriors International defense stays solid. They don't want to, at this point, they don't want to concede even one.
Lovely.
And then he turns Allraz all by himself, really. Steals the ball, brings it through. And Warriors International so good in the attack. 1 hit to their battleship, and all of a sudden they went down. 60 seconds to fix it, though.
Beautifully played on the double tap, and finally we have a lead being gained by Stromboli. As you say, though, a little bit of time for them to fix it on the part of the Warriors. Pass down from Jwiz to Thunder, tries his best to get a scroll in, but it will not happen. The striking force stopped. A little bit of passiveness and a little bit of defensive control. Stromboli wrapping over to the offensive. Jwiz will take it away. Beat out 2 of the Stromboli players. Challenging onto the third, gets it out of the midfield, but it stops dead in its tracks. And Buddy tries to tee this off to his teammate, left-hand side of the field. Thunder contesting, pushing it over to the backboard. Setting it up for Buddy for a decent shot. Hex going to deny. Jwiz again sets it up right-hand side of the net. Big miss from him all the same. Allraz now with control. Passing up to no man's land. Heck will try and see if he can take that control from that corner. It is T-back by the defensive of the Warriors side. Allraz moves in. Secondary touch will be denied by Thunder. And now Buddy has his own dribble right over to the orange half, trying to keep this one alive. Teeing it up past 2. Going in solo off the backboard. Allraz has control, pushes it out to open space. 2 players commit, and that might just be enough here for the Stromboli side. Buddy keeps it alive, sets up Thunder for the 0 seconds. No! On the line, pushed off the crossbar, pushed away from the post, and Stromboli have game 1.
I swear, Jay, recently there have been so many buzzer beaters and almost buzzer beaters in RLCS and Rival Series. I was expecting this to be one. Warriors coming this close to sending this into overtime, and really throughout the whole game you could feel this is looking like their match. We saw Thunder, player that I was doubting that he will be dragging the team down. No, he was actually on the forefront. He's usually in the defense, not doing much in terms of goals or assists, but he was crushing that net. And I was worried about the defense of Warriors. I think they fixed their defense by just being constantly on the offense. Stromboli only needed 1 good counterattack. They got that good counterattack, but I'm feeling that there's plenty to salvage for Warriors in the series.
Don't feel like the offense was 100% though, Jam. Like, they certainly could have held a lot more in that orange half. But they'll have to try and pick up the pace going into game number 2 here. It's ready to rock and roll. Stromboli kicking things off on the right foot here, though. All positives for the team in first place. Let's see if they can continue their first place position. Thunder taking it over to the midfield. Follow-up from Jwiz is going to have to be challenged by J-Pow. Easy as that, with 100 points of boost picked up and pushed out to the corner now. Allraz moving in. Takes his ball like a boost. Booms this one close to the target. That will be wide, though. Dangerous from the Warriors side. You talk about the defensive being a bit awkward, and that certainly is the case. That was a nice open net. If they had that one on target, that would have gone directly in. And now the pressure starts to mount up here for Stromboli. Ball out into open space. Warriors can take control. Rek moves in, passes out to the backboard, in towards Allraz. Jwiz can take it left and take it away from the offense.
A little bit more of an aggressive start from Stromboli. They felt like that playstyle wasn't really giving them that many results. Sitting patiently in the defense, although we didn't see any double commits, any hurried decision that allowed Warriors International to get a good look. Stromboli only got really 3 shots in the previous game, and so the slow approach, it's risky. Warriors International had so many more shots, many attempts, and while majority of them were weak, and Warriors were snatching at their chances, Stromboli in this one decided to switch the gear just a little bit. The start of the game was in their favor. Still wasn't looking impressive, and Stromboli will have to return to that blue half and try again. Not before Thunder actually scores a goal, only 13th goal for him in the league. As Warriors do a good conversion on the attack. J-Pow not even expecting Thunder to have any, to do that contest. But that 50-50 was immediately going on target. There was no question about it.
Yeah, that one looked quite a bit weird, I want to say, there from the offense. I mean, it's the perfect position to stop Thunder to get that first goal. I mean, any further left or right, it would have hit the post of the defender, but it was placed perfectly. for Warriors. That's a big start here in game 2. 3 minutes on the clock, still plenty of time for Stromboli to return, however. We saw how easy they were taking control when they had the offensive going to their name. It's Thunder. 100 boost getting picked up off that backboard over to the ceiling. Blocked off by Alraz here. Beats him. Buddy with a follow-up. J-Pow also tries to follow it up, but it's back in the path of Alraz. He takes that out of the center line. Tech now in off the ceiling. Takes it to the floor. J-Wiz can put it off the backboard. Now Alraz there has control. So a bit touch and go and a bit of breathing room being given over to that Stromboli defensive. Warriors now going to have to return to the Blue Harp as a result. Awkward back pass from Thunder, but it works. J-Wiz there to block off the shot coming through. J-Pow puts that one towards the box one more time, and Buddy here with control is going to get bumped out the way. But again, taking it away from Stromboli control, not allowing these shots to go in. Even though they're getting close to the net, they're not as accurate from Stromboli as they would like.
I'm not even sure what Alraz was trying to do with that play. He spiked the ball high up, and then nobody from his team was in support. It only allowed Warriors to get a reset. Stromboli have returned to the attack once again, but something is missing from Stromboli. Some decision-making is highly questionable, and it feels like they can really put pressure on Warriors, and right now we are not seeing the full extent of it. Perhaps they're still trying to play a little bit more conservative. But I feel like at this point, a little bit more of a vice-like pressure is needed for Stromboli to really take control of the game.
I'm been able to demonstrate that so far in the series, I don't think. Bump plays from Rec to J-Pow, also not going to be looking at the best of positional formation. Now J-Wiz looks to try and take control. Back pass towards Buddy, Heck intercepts it, denies his shot from the midfield. Thunder also contesting for blue side half control. Heck tees this one up alongside J-Pow, second contention. Put it over to the other end of the field. Once again, back inside this corner. J-Wiz going to get beaten out by Alraz. Off to the backboard, they will look to play this one. Thunder with control. Up against J-Pow, also to the backboard. Buddy will boom this one close, but Heck is right in the path of that ball's path, so he'll intercept it again, can try and continue the pressure here for Stromboli. Midfield control has been one of their vice grip elements, though. If they can just keep that pressure going on the blue half, they could be able to score that equalizer, but with a minute to go, they still have to try and find some sort of way back in. Now position's being baited out on the defensive.
It's hard to start your siege on the opposing end of the field if you don't have the control of the midfield. And Stromboli are about to concede a second one. Thunder needs a couple of touches to caress that ball, but he gets it in the end. Oh, Stromboli. Oh, Stromboli. When you make 2 misses in a row, and J-Pow was just coming from such an awkward angle that for him to do anything, he needed to really thread the needle on that one. Whereas International do not care about your midfield pressure.
Oh!
But they sure as heck will be caring about this one. Straight off the kickoff, Stromboli. Nobody was cheating up. That's a bit of a surprise. Really, why not? Defensive approach, trying to really safeguard that defense, that 2-0 lead. Whereas just concede off a set play. And again, another approach, nobody's cheating up, even after conceding a goal from that. Interesting decision from Warriors.
Out of nowhere for that shot as well. A very fast one on target. J-Pow going to try and see if he can follow suit. 30 seconds left. Stromboli still a goal behind. And Warriors will continue the pressure here. J-Wiz going to challenge onto Alraz. Thunder maintains his presence. J-Pow up and over. As Heck takes this to the side, leaves it for a teammate. Alright going to return. Heck also trying to receive the passing from that player. From the corner board, J-Pow's a bit too far forward, can take it right back to that position. They need it inside that box, they need it for a shot here. Final countdown for game 2. Warriors still in the lead, going to try and maintain this ball's control. It's up and open for Alraz to take an opportunity in towards Heck. Back to Alraz, a beautiful passing play, but it's off the crossbar and not to be today. Warriors will have the second game under their belt, so we're 1-1 in our series here, Jam. 2 very different styles of games, I want to say there, but for the Warriors, it was relatively consistent.
But incredibly on the edge, really. You look at these stats. True. 3 shots, for majority of it, it was really just, they had one good outing in the offense, and that was it. But they really haven't changed that much about their play. It's still solid. I'm still loving Thunder in the attack. I feel like they needed it. Would still love for J-Wiz to step up a bit for the second game in a row. He has been just a shadow of his former self on the field. But for Stromboli, I think the alarm bells will start to ring in their head right now. They are not the same Stromboli that we all learned to love throughout the duration of the season. They're not really improvising. They're not really getting any good ideas on the field. Their passes, their attempts are far and few in between. I want to see more from Stromboli. We need to see more from Stromboli if they want to really end that season on the top spot. I feel like against a team like Warriors International, they really need to be much more dominant. And again, they had the midfield. They should have the attack, but it's like J-Pao, Alvarez, and Heck just don't care.
Saying they don't care. I think that might be a bit extreme there, Jam. I'm not sure whether that's the right name for it, but
I'm usually
certainly
the most reasonable, Jay. So something about NA. Just I came here and decided to be extremely harsh.
Well, game 3 in Warriors. Trying to bring that harshness against the Stromboli side, and certainly will be playing at the advantage in the early part of this kickoff. Pressure being applied in that orange half. Buddy and Jaywiz with control. Now trying to flick back against Alraz. He'll block it. Thunder in with a decent shot, but Heck can deny. Follows up coming in. Secondary touches from Jay Wismont. And Thunder, the backboard. 5 points. The Boots can only go so close with this one. J-Pal booming this one on target, but it will be taken away by Buddy on the defense. It's Alraz now. Centers this one up for J-Pal. Unfortunately, he's way too far back. We'll still continue this. Awkward touch from Thunder. This could be J-Pal's exploitation, but no. Pushed out by Buddy just at the last hurdle. Heck was also there to try and receive a follow-up, so Stromboli certainly not playing with the same sort of aggressive speed, but you know, the accuracy cannot be denied from this team, I don't think.
But still, they need to find that conversion, just like Warriors needed to find those conversions in the first game, being all on the attack all the time, but not finding even a single goal. And even for Stromboli, all that attack is for nothing if their shots just go nowhere. I do have to say that what Stromboli are doing are definitely much more threatening. Warriors are currently putting on target. But right now in the game of millimeters, or for those in North America, the game of inches, one goal is all they need.
Good shot from J-Pal, blocked off again. Alvarez tries to slip it past the defense. It will be wide here on the part of Buddy now. 37 points, trying to beat out Alraz. He'll only go so far with this one. Very passive control from Warriors. 100 boost being taken from that midfield. It's Stromboli now going to try and set up their pressure. Pass up to Alraz, backboard in towards the next of J-Pal, but blocked off by the defense, and the perfect setup will be perfectly defended against by the Warriors international side. Still scoreless, much like in game 1 here, and Heck trying to see if we can outfake Buddy here. Just going to slow that pace down, beat out him, trying to beat out J-Pal all the same. Into the midfield contention from Thunder off the ceiling is where he'll go. Alraz up, J-Wiz contesting. Rhett going to try and push this one out towards J-Pal. Nice sideboard bounce. 100 points of boost going to get picked up. He's also mispositioned by Thunder here. Ball in for Alraz. Tee back by Buddy. Over to Thunder. He misses his touch. Now trying to apply the pressure here for Warriors, but now the back and forth ping pong affair might ensue. No one's in the backboard. This could just be defended by Thunder instead, actually. I thought it was going to be open, and that could have well been the first goal for Stromboli, but Warriors recognizing that danger and getting themselves as far out position as possible.
That was a rough last man commit. I was also thinking, this is it. The Stromboli are having an open look on target. Thunder was there in time again. Brilliant player for Warriors in this series. Stromboli, despite having the pressure for the majority of the game, still can't find that goal. For Warriors, I feel like they only need possession, and Stromboli will start to slowly crack. If Warriors have the ball, then Stromboli are forced to take some proactive moves, and that's where Warriors, I think, can really get under the skin of Stromboli, perhaps find that little mistake here and there. For now, though, they're not getting that possession, and once again are being dominated in defense. Another series of shot rattles against posts and players of Warriors, but they keep on holding on.
Close shot from Thunder. Buddy's going to follow up from the same position, but can't quite set up the zero angle he wants. Alraz will boom this back downfield. Off that corner, that's a very dangerous ball, but does get taken control of here by the defensive of the Warriors side. J-Pal now up against Buddy. Thunder's going to swing and get himself involved. Wreck back on target, off the crossbar instead. J-Wiz takes that to the left-hand field, but the 60-second gong has sounded, and we are still scoreless here. J-Pal's looking to try and change that off the backboard, beats J-Wiz, but still puts it off the crossbar. And there's just no way in for Stromboli. It feels like they've been trying for the past 20-30 seconds or so, and their pressure just has not worked out for them. They'll continue it from this midfield line. Still getting those 100 pads and the small pads as well to back up whatever they have. Finally a breakaway coming in from Buddy, but J-Pow quick to try and respond against Thunder here. He'll tee this off to the sideboard. Heck gonna take control. Bumped out by J-Wiz though, so it's only temporary control. J-Pow puts that one back on target, and Thunder now with a tee off. Pass to Heck. Last man left on the backboard, but he's a little bit too far forward. And Thunder can force the own goal by bouncing it into his opponent and getting the first on the board for Warriors.
One small mistake again. For Warriors International, this is only the third attempt at target, but a backflip from Hack. He should have had that. Anytime, other time of the day, he should have had that. Not in that moment. And with so little time remaining, Stromboli tried as they might, but Jay, he just couldn't be in Warriors. I'm pretty sure right now they're just be considering themselves extremely lucky. This was their game to completely lose. Still might have it. Had some close to overtime shockers, the buzzer beaters. Actually dropping down, and Warriors International, they steal one game off Stromboli. That's the only way I can describe that. That was complete and utter steal. Something had to give on the side of Stromboli because they weren't just with that attack with what 14 shots. Oh, it's still going on. They just want to keep up the game of longest keep yappy. There you have it. But the fact was, Stromboli with their 14 shots, they had to score at some point. It had to, like, either the Warriors defense had to break or Stromboli will be just too far out in the attack for a counterattack to happen. Counterattack happens, but they still should have had the chance. Warriors International, that's a freebie for you, and don't think Stromboli are giving these out every single day of the week. For the next win, for the series clincher, you will really have to make sure that you work for it.
Series clincher and butt clincher, if you will, because these ones have been down to the wire. Only single goal differentials between Warriors and Stromboli, but as you say, Warriors currently on top 2-1 up in this series. A couple of offensive plays going well enough for Stromboli to get pressure going, but all in all, the pressure's all the only thing they've really got. You know, the shot counts have been great, but on target have not really been there, and Warriors having some pretty consistent saves, and the defensive is wrapping up here for this blue side of the court. Like, it's looking real good for Warriors, you know, and we had Stromboli going into this one just off the basis of seeds alone, you know, but the way that they've performed over the last couple of weeks, and, you know, we talked about the unlikeliness, or I talked about the unlikeliness of them being able to take a win on the Warriors side. Apparently, I couldn't be much more wrong here, Jam.
Well, the chat prefers Stromboli with a slightly less than 60% of the viewers currently preferring the Bowley side. But they might be in a little bit of a shock. There might be a Warriors International surprise being sprung for them. Well, Jay, the fourth game. And with either Stromboli takes this from where we start and basically continues what they started in the previous game, or I'm feeling like there might be a lot of trouble for Stromboli, a second loss even.
Well, Stromboli already in the defensive half here against the Warriors International side. J-Pow will take this one up and over to the corner. Heck's going to get missed out here. Alvarez back in the orange half, and the quick booming clear, trying to get to all positions against the Stromboli side. So far it's working for the Warriors camp, and they'll press forward here with their own offensive, trying to get this set up for Stromboli. It's where they've been the most successful so far in this series. They can return to it, then maybe they might be able to score a couple more goals. They need to get an opener, I feel like. This is the one thing they haven't been able to take above the Warriors side. Opening goals have always gone to them so far, with the exception of that one game. Buddy in with the first shot, and the defensive is nowhere to be seen. I thought they were wrapping over. I thought they were getting themselves set up for this net. Apparently, they were.
Oh, smart move from Jay Wisman. He stops just short of the ball, making sure that the aggressive 50 that is coming his way will bounce off him and back into the attack. That's what sets Buddy up front in the net. And even with Stromboli players returning back, they were not expecting this. Now it's 4 minutes for Warriors International. Not even 4 minutes. Didn't take them that long to get back on the action. Tie game from Stromboli as this clear immediately finds Alvarez, and then immediately finds Heck. A little bit of demo threat from Alvarez as well as he was crossing that goal line. Whereas International, perhaps we're still celebrating, but it's tie game again, back to square one.
And that's what we need to see more of here from Stromboli. The aggression into a goal. 1-1 on the board, but you can see how quickly Warriors are going to try and contest this here. From that midfield, boomed up over to the orange corner, set up by Buddy as he takes it to the sideboard as it goes up here for Buddy. In control of J-Pow as it plays over to the corner. J-Wiz also contesting against Alraz, teed up again and pushed over into the center line. A lot of pressure coming in from the Warriors side. Stromboli struggling to deal with it. Buddy off that backboard and Alraz tees it into the mid-center. J-Wiz over to Buddy now, trying to receive this one. A bit mispositioned, couldn't gain all the control that he wanted, and Warriors will continue to press forward here. Thunder over to the right-hand corner as a respawn comes in from J-Pow's part. J-Wizbon going to take control. And the Warriors have kept this whole thing going for as long as possible, but no real big shots coming out from them, no real opportunities that feel like they're going to go in.
A little bit of barbarian rage is coming out from Warriors right now. They are going from demos, really the first set of demos that we've seen throughout the whole series. And that could be the answer as well. As long as they do not choose demos over actual plays that they can make, if that's their second thought or their first thought, I feel like they can unlock the defense of Stromboli. Because, again, just looking for that one magical shot, something that will come. Ooh, magical save for sure. That was close as ever. With those demos, I feel like Stromboli's defense, especially knowing that they've been constantly keeping defenders in the back, I think that could be an opener from Warriors in this game.
Oh, Buddy. Close, but no cigar against Stromboli. Looked like he was going to beat all those defenders, and the booming clears coming through the shots of the midfield as well. All of them getting so close to the line on the Warriors international half. And meanwhile, J-Wizbon working miracles there. I have no idea how he saved 7 of those shots. Backboards from Buddy will now set him up for an attack. He dunks down, but it's too far wide. No second goal, no lead for Warriors International. Now Thunder takes control. Got 2 players to beat. He won't get past the first. Heck now. Fall back against Buddy and limited boost for these boys in the defense. J-Pow set up. J-Wizbon goes for the redirect. Thunder with the final follow-up, and there you go. Eventually, Stromboli, the lack of boost getting the better of them. Worn out across the board here, and well, there was nothing they could do after Thunder took that save.
2 players, but in slightly off position. That would really stop Stromboli from stopping. And of course, the lack of boost. They were defending out of their last strength. Warriors International, great setup. Most importantly, they had players following up what they started. So often you see just one shot and that's it. Then Warriors International were straight up there. And right now, immediate answer for Stromboli yet again, Jay. Even more beautiful that when Warriors just scored down. It's just good aerial play. Wizbon tried to hurry back on that backboard, somewhere where you really should have a player, but he was the last one. Had to rush there. Warriors International once again could not hold on to that lead. But this is, just like every single other game in the Series G, is teetering on the edge. Only each kill or everything that one team needs is 1 goal in the closing seconds, and that should be enough.
Look, I absolutely love it when a Rocket League play goes so clean, and that was clean. That was so clean. I love it. And just like that, we're back in 2-2 here. Pressure coming out from the Stromboli side, and somehow it gets even cleaner to the backboard, to Alraz, to the net. 3-2 up for the orange side of the field.
Buddy was expecting a shot coming in. I think that was J-Pow. Shot didn't come, and that slotted perfectly in the top left corner, just scraping the woodwork a little bit. Off that pinch from Thunder, I think it was on the flank. He was not expecting the ball to go straight for Stromboli players, leaving everyone in Warriors a little bit discombobulated. Rough, but they'll have to make do. 2 players on the attack, though, and if somebody can start a good pinch, there you have it, Wizman with a demo. This could be an answer for Warriors. More demos coming in, at least attempts. They want to make sure that they don't have any resistance in the orange half.
30 seconds, Alrad's going to continue to take this one high. J-Wiz with a big miss, and that almost went right there, but not to be. Buddy now tees it up after Thunder, dunk down off the crossbar, in towards J-Wiz, will double commits, and there you go! Warriors International, 20 seconds to the clock, and they will not let this game die. They still want to take their victories.
I can understand the initial save coming in was at Alraz, but why J-Pow committed so hard on? He was coming in so late on that save. They just ran out of players to defend, while Warriors International were even coming from their own half pretty much. Just hold my breath just for a second, because Stromboli have been so consistent in scoring a goal immediately after Warriors have scored it. But this might be going into our first overtime game. Will they start an attack? They at very least will try to. Whereas International with the ball in the orange side of the field. Buddy coming in from the bumps. Breathe out, if only just for a moment. Another kickoff might send the series either in game number 5 or Warriors International to a victory.
Breathe in, breathe out is right, because Jay Powell has an offensive. Double touch is a bit too high off the crossbar. Buddy going to set up Jay Wiz, and Alraz will take this to the corner. 100 boost can get stolen. No one's going to contest it. Thunder goes for the ball instead. Jay Powell pressures still from this corner is where they'll try and work out, it seems, for the initial offensive play. Stromboli also having a bit of midfield presence, not as much as in previous games, and this might work against them. Jay Wiz gets it close. That ball set up to the target. Alraz will boom it back downfield. Passed up to from his teammate. Jay Powell receives now the clears coming in from Warriors. Here comes Thunder off the backboard, blocked off by Jay Powell. Set up for an opportunity. Everyone's going to miss touches on this ball on the defensive for Stromboli. Trying to return back. Alraz got to leave it for Jay Powell. He's out of boost, but Jay Powell's not that much better. 8 points to his name. Will try contest and try to shove the back line out of position, but it won't happen for Warriors. They return just as quickly. A game of ping pong ensuing for the early part of this overtime. Only going so far as the post here for the counter-attack. So Warriors, no goals to be scored just yet. A couple of send and receive, it seems, from the offensive. It's sets up, but could not get his shot, could not get his goal. Thunder with a save.
This game is getting nervous on both sides, but knowing just how often Warriors are in on the attack, it's double commits for Stromboli that can really decide this series. Great pinch off the ground as Thunder was trying to push it through. The midfield control for Stromboli isn't dying down right now. You can see they have players ready in the midfield. This is an open look. This is a goal. This is series for Warriors International. And Jay, it seems like we've all been wrong. As unlikely as it is, Warriors have just taken the series off Stromboli.
It seems so. Warriors International managing a 3-1 above Stromboli. I didn't expect that. I genuinely believe that Stromboli were living up to the hype. They did do so in game 1, but every single game since that point was a single goal differential, and it was down to the wire a lot of the time, but Warriors were able to inch out their opponents more than anything else there. Stromboli, however, I mean, they came up against the force from the Warriors side eventually. You know, when that aggression got going from that blue side, like, it didn't stop. They had so many shots on net throughout several of these games, and Stromboli, sometimes they were pressured so hard they could barely even break out. Then their attacking force came in, and that was also strong, but it also wasn't quite as accurate as we hoped, Jam.
It was weird, really. We saw many whiffs. We saw Stromboli knowing how to bring the pressure to Warriors, but not always knowing how to really find that opening from Warriors. I mean, right now I'm looking at the series as a whole, and I'm thinking Warriors just make do with their chances while keeping their mistake level to a minimum. It's where Stromboli really needs to take a look back and say, all right, guys, we had double commits. We had easy whiffs that we should have been doing. We saw so many misses, so many weird moves, a couple of feels backflip man moments. Stromboli just didn't perform when it counted, while Warriors International did. And I think in the end, that was the difference maker in the series. That and a wonderful performance for Thunder. The fact that he has scored 5 goals for his team. 3 of these goals were, really every single goal was instrumental. Without him scoring 2 in the second game, without him scoring the only one in the third game, his team would not have won. And of course, 2 goals in the final game. He has been on point, and knowing that he is the lowest scorer on his team, having having that kind of player to all of a sudden to spring up and carry the team with him, incredibly important for Warriors International. But I have to say, pretty much everyone on that team performed. Loved what Buddy did. Jay Wismont, not as good in the first 2 games, but solid in the remainder. Warriors International should be really happy with this performance. And for Stromboli, well, now I think it's the time to start get worried.
We're going to bring Hunted back into the fold, see what his thoughts were. My man, I think we all kind of lean to the favour of Stromboli, but did you expect it to be quite as harsh as that, is the question I have to ask you.
Well, no, most certainly. It was a wonderful match to watch. I mean, really, Warriors kept it kind of on the edge of the the balance there towards the end. And, you know, you guys mentioned all of the big points that really I was going to bring into the conversation. I mean, it was 1-goal games. We normally see Stromboli so good on the offensive side, but, you know, you think of, what was it, game 3, I believe, where they just absolutely could not score 14 shots on goal to the 3 of the Warriors. And it was just, it was unbelievable, the Warriors defense. And it's a big change. It's something that we all talked about kind of in that pre-game before we even got started, that the Warriors have been struggling on defense and Stromboli most certainly not on offense. And, you know, Jay, I just want to ask, you know, what was it that kept the ball out for the Warriors?
I think it was just some solid defensive coupled with some inaccuracies from the opponents. You know, like it wasn't always 100%, but whenever they had those breakaways, whenever they had those really good sort of offensive players going on the part of Stromboli, like it didn't always connect at the final hurdle, which is always a problem when you see that going. So yeah, like. It's a combination of two different things, I feel like, and Stromboli didn't quite show to me all the offensive prowess that you should see out of a team that are currently top in the league right now. It doesn't change their position, I don't think, or at least not for the moment. But they've had, they've had to go up against a very solid sort of Warriors International side. And honestly, if you isolate that one result between the two teams, and then told me that, you know, Stromboli were first and Warriors were ninth, like that would have surprised me like a whole lot. Like it wasn't the kind of thing that I was expecting at all.
No, absolutely. It was quite a wonderful matchup. And real quickly, before we go to break, Jam, if you don't mind, who was your MVP of that game?
It has to be Thunder, really, with his contribution to his team and knowing that I wanted him to perform better in this series. He has delivered 100%. Looking to see more from him, and really, the Warriors International at this point of the season needs him. They need to get out of that relegation zone as fast as possible, and this is a good start.
Absolutely. It's certainly one of those things that we talked about, but we are going to go ahead and take a very short break. While we do that, please go check out our Twitter account. It's at Rival Esports GG on Twitter. To follow that so you can get all of the updates for when we will go live. And of course, do follow our Twitch channel right here, Rival Esports on Twitch. Make sure you do that so you can stay up to date when we go live with all of our broadcasts. But going to take a very short break. When we come back, it's Absolute Leverage and RBG.